everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Allie and I'm a member of the admissions committee here at CBS. I'm super excited to be joined by two of our current students in Sema who are going to answer all of your questions about the club. So this is a great opportunity to ask any questions that might be on your mind about Sema, about the club, about life at CBS. So I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to our students to do the rest of the chat. Thank you both for being here today.
Thanks so much. So just a quick introduction of myself. And then, so my name is Michael Wang, part of class of 2021 of second year. And I'm one of the co-presidents of Sema, along with Samini. And then Samini, why don't you introduce yourself and then we can get into it.
Sure. Welcome everyone and thank you for being here. We are very excited to talk to you more about Sema. I am also a student of class of 2021, co-president with Michael. Before coming to business school, I spent time in growth private equity at TA Associates, and over the summer I transitioned to IM. I worked at Fidelity in the tech team and hoping to go back post-school.
Thanks, Sami. And then just a little bit about my background. I'm a little bit of a career switcher. Prior to CBS, I was in accounting and consulting for about 10 years and came to CBS with the sole purpose of switching into investment management. And luckily, I was able to get an internship with T. Rowe Price over the summer, and I'll be returning to T. Rowe Price full-time after school as well. So for career switchers out there, I'm your guy, and it's very, very possible to do this. So excited to talk about that and excited to talk a little bit about Sema, our club.
Do you want to
yeah, I'll kick it off. So just looking at Sema, so our club, really, we have a very, very simple mission. We're here to basically educate and support our members for a switch, or not just a switch, but for a career in investment and wealth management. And the club is, it's one of the largest clubs within CBS. I think this year, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're up over 600 members or so. And just in terms of some of the benefits that we offer within the club, we have tons of mentorship, investment management and wealth management. It's a very, very apprenticeship heavy sort of a model. So we emphasize a lot of that. And then Sema, the club itself, offers a lot of networking and guest speaker opportunities as well. So you get to know people not just within the club during your 2 years at CBS, but it's also a lifetime network. So you get to make a lot of friends within the club who will go on to be your peers within a career in investment management. And then we also have a lot of career opportunities, pitch competitions and other social events. So just tons and tons of resources for our students and you know, when we have all of these resources available, we hope that all of the students that we have are able to take advantage of that, and we try to make the best of these opportunities, make sure that people are aware of it. And then, Samini, did you want to talk a little bit about the structure of our club and some of the leadership opportunities that we have?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, you know, there are three main pillars that we do focus on, some of which, of course, Michael did mention. One was the first on careers, looking to help you build your stock pitch, go ahead and interview well, whatever it may be, maybe the very basic behavioral questions, or maybe actually, you know, deep diving onto your stock pitch. So we have something called the IIC, where you will be able to come in and pitch to a jury of, you know, veterans in this space. It's a risk-free environment for you to just come in, test your pitch, test your pitch skilling, your pitch abilities, and get feedback on it. And I think that is really valuable because you're going to be able to do that way before your interview process. The other thing we'll help you do is like participate in stock pitch competitions. Highly, highly recommend those for those of you who are interested in IM. Not only does it help you build your best set of friends, that's what happened to me in the Women in Investing conference, But it also like does help you learn from your peers, because there's just so much you learn through that process, collaboration with 4 or 5 other team members, to go ahead and pitch, with others, with other schools. And I will say Colombia does really well in these pitch competitions. So definitely a good way for you to build a network and a reputation in the market. The other part of it is, of course, as Michael mentioned, this is a lifetime network that you will build here at school. Most people, of course, through school do support each other, but even after, this is kind of your go-to. These are the people you will be in touch with post-school for everything, professionally and, of course, personally. The way we actually do involve a lot of you students into the club is through the board. So we do have a very big, big board. I think amongst one of the biggest at school. So 35 different VPs, EVP roles, which is something you can take on in your second year. As your first year, when you come into school, you can be an AVP. Across different verticals. It could be social, it could be maybe the newsletter that we send out, or it could be something, on the career side, if that's what you're more interested in. So we have a role for each one of you in the community if you really want to pay back and, kind of be part of the leadership at CSIMA. So that's kind of us in a nutshell. I don't know if there's one more slide. Can we just click over? Oh yeah, I think then we were just going to open it up to questions.
Yeah.
Michael, is there anything to add? But would love to answer any questions folks may have.
Yeah, I think we already have some coming in through the chat box. The first one's actually for you, Sam.
Sure.
So can you explain why you went, private equity through investment management route?
Absolutely. So I think in PE, I absolutely loved the investment piece of the work I did, but I, spent a lot of time originating deals and post that, of course, doing a lot of the negotiation legal process. That just took up so much time away from the investment piece, and it was very frustrating. So I do think what IM does allow you to do is focus primarily on the deal making piece. The velocity that you will experience, and if that's something you really like doing, then it is unparalleled. It's not the same as PE. You will be, doing deals at a much faster rate. You have the ability to enter and exit deals as and when you want, as compared to in PE once you're in. And if you made a mistake, it's really hard to get out. So I think both of those things really did excite me and wanted me to make the transition. I will say from a skill set standpoint, the investing piece is definitely very transferable and it will work. What you will need to learn as you go through the IM piece is being able to learn work with imperfect information. You're not going to have all the information you had in PE. You're not going to have as many resources in terms of getting all the financials and deep dive into the financials. So you're going to have to make investments based on a little bit of more imperfect information. But that being said, it is something that you can definitely learn on the job in the process and get better and better at it. So yeah, if you have any other further questions on this, happy to take it offline.
Sounds good. I think the next question we had was the 600 students or so in our members. So that's only graduate students. There's no undergrad students. And the majority of those 600 students are all in the MBA program, although we do have some masters, I think, in accounting and masters in finance students, and I think some PhD students, but again, overwhelming majority is MBA graduate students.
Yeah. The next one on the VI program, so there are 600 members, as Michael mentioned, and there are 40 seats in the VI program. So unfortunately, of course, that number does trickle down to only a few. Apart from, so of course, there are a lot more applicants, but only 40 end up getting selected. So there are limited seats, and you do end up competing with your peers for it. But that being said, I will say that the CSIMA community, like, regardless of being in the VI program, there are, of course, a lot of students that still do very well. So if you get in, it's great, and of course, it's something you want to do. But if you don't be discouraged. There are other ways to still enter the industry. and be able to make your mark.
Yeah, and I'll just add to what Sam was saying. So with the VI program, when people think about the 600 members versus the 40 in the VI program, it seems like a pretty daunting task to get in. But honestly, the value investing program from another perspective is also very, very self-selective. Investment management track is a wonderful career track, but at the same time, it's also a ton of work, and people do self-select in a sense when they apply into the value investing program. So I wouldn't try to read too much into that huge numerical discrepancy between the value investing program and the CSIMA membership itself, if that makes sense.
I think the one follow-up on that was, like, are there any overlaps between, like, the PE community and CSIMA and distressed investing? And yes, there is. Definitely, we work closely with the PE club and most other investing focused clubs, even the VC one. If there are speakers, they can, we try to market the events across different clubs once we've given enough spots for our own club. So we do that. There's a lot of overlap also, of course, resources in terms of, like, training the street or Wall Street prep. Those are modeling resources that one can access across different clubs. So we don't work in silos. A lot of it is collaborative. Michael, I think the next one's for you.
Okay, so I think this one is about background in accounting and hedge fund operations and making the switch to investment management. So I would say biggest challenges, obviously you're going to need to get over the resume challenge, which is if you may not, what I mean by that is that if you don't take some initiative, you may not screen well by just submitting your resume and hoping that you'll get invited to interviews. So what I did to overcome that is basically doing a pre-MBA internship at a hedge fund in New York City, and that kind of mitigated the resume risk, so to speak. And then the other aspect is within CBS and CSIMA, once you get onto campus, you'll just realize that the community within CSIMA, especially second years, culturally we have this, we take this approach where we pay it forward, right? So when we were first years last year, a lot of the second years spent a lot of their own time to coach us, to mentor us. Somni, she did the women investing, and she had a lot of second year mentors who helped her and her team. So that's one great example of how that happens. And then and part of that culture is passed on. So we always tell the people who come after us, people are generally very thankful for our help, and we always just finish it off and say that, look, when you're in our positions and it's time to pass this on, we expect that to be paid forward to the students who come after you. So within CSIMA, within CBS, it's not just like, getting resources to, let's say, like sell-side research. It's just, there's a lot of people here who are willing, able to help, and who will devote the time. And so that's a major aspect of this community that helps, people like myself, who was a career switcher, make the switch and do it successfully.
Sorry, I'm simultaneously trying to answer some of them in the chat box, just so that it's more efficient and, we can try to get as many answers.
We have a lot. I think we have a lot of open questions. Yeah. So I think the next one we have is, how often do first year MBA students get involved? Very often. So we have full VP and executive VP positions, but we are actually in the process of hiring assistant VPs right now, and we do that every single year. So AVP positions, approximately the same number as the VP positions that we had mentioned earlier in the slide. And so if you go on the CSIMA website, those are the roles available, and you can definitely get involved. And it's highly encouraged for you to get involved.
Yeah. On the next two, so career resources and alumni network, and of course the structure of the recruiting process are really quickly. Career resources, you basically have everything at your disposal. You will have everything from Bloomberg to Capital IQ in terms of financial resources. You will have, of course, all the second-year students at your disposal to help through the pitch process. And you will also have, of course, a directory from Career Services on all students who have been through the IM track over the last 3 to 5 years from Colombia that you can reach out to with their email addresses. So you can reach out to all of them. In addition, I would say, of course, your school email address and your LinkedIn profile is definitely very powerful. So leverage that. It's rare that people don't respond if they are already from Colombia or they know you're from Colombia. So I would say you would have a lot of resources at your disposal. On the structure of the recruiting process, I think with Tiro and Fido, so I'm happy to talk about Fidelity really quick. Here most of us go through on-campus recruiting. A lot of these mutual funds, large funds, hedge funds, they come to campus. So we have a 30-minute interview on campus if you've been shortlisted for the process. You will end up either, talking about yourself, which is one pitch normally that you prepare, walk in there on a piece of paper. So you will talk about it, or you will go through potentially behavioral questions on your investing style, books you've read, stuff like that for 30 minutes. If you get shortlisted after, then you will go through Super Day, where that's normally on premise. There you spend an entire day, 2 different formats. One is, of course, you talk to a variety of PMs about your investing style, your PA, and everything under the sun. Or you go through something like Fido, which is a P-test where they give you a stock in the morning. In 2.5 hours, you kind of prepare a pitch, and then you pitch it to a PM. Of course, they know that you only had 2.5 hours to look at it, but you pitch it to a PM and you field questions. Michael, I don't know if Tiro's process is a lot different from this.
Yeah, Tiro's process is fairly similar in the sense that Tiro was on campus, 30 minutes on campus, first round. If you get invited to second round, you're on site and it's a Super Day. Obviously that's probably going to be different this year because of the virtual recruiting, but that's traditionally how it's been done. And the emphasis at Tiro is very similar. You have to have done your own research, stock pitches, and usually you're always talking about some stock research that you've done, and you also talk quite a bit about your own career and your own investment philosophy, books that you read. So those are all the big major topics that seem to be very, very common.
I think the next one on value versus growth.
So I mean, I can answer that. So the value investing program, I think people think about value investing either as a style box, kind of like how different funds are sold as, versus what value investing truly is, which is investing in something for less than its intrinsic value. So if you within the value investing program and within Colombia, what you'll realize is that the type of value style is actually not nearly as prevalent as you would think. There are a lot of high quality compounder investment styles, professors who emphasize that, and there are a lot of professors who have also tilted towards very high growth style. So you actually will find more of those types of investment philosophies here than you would actually find just the pure Benjamin Graham style of value. So there's a little bit of a nuance in how the program is named versus how we actually view our investment philosophy.
I'm typing the next one out. So you want to just jump to Siddharth's question, maybe? Oh.
Sure. For someone who wants to get into impact investing, how is IM compared to IB? To be honest, the CSIMA is very much focused more on the traditional type of public investing. I think we do have an impact investing club, but that's separate from us. And I've seen people generally go through recruiting for investment banking, ironically, before pursuing some type of an impact investing. However, this is a topic that I would prefer to leave for members of that club.
Yeah. Really quick on automation and the industry. I think this is a broader discussion, but yes, it's happening, and there are some pieces of it that do worry people, but I do think it is not something that can take away our jobs over time. There will always be a human element to management meetings and investment decision making that probably cannot be automated. There is the redundant parts of our job, like building model, but pulling in historicals, a lot of that if it gets automated, it's great. I think all of us would love to spend less time on doing some of that. But I think in the foreseeable future, it's not a threat that we worry will take away our jobs, I guess.
Yeah, I'll add a little bit to that. And this kind of gets into the investment process that I've developed. A lot of my time in the investment research process is actually spent talking to people within the industry. So if you think about that, conversations, people can have conversations with other people. Machines are not really having conversations with people, and I don't see that happening very soon either. And so in some ways, investment management is very much a relationship-based type of career. And these conversations and these relationships that you develop with people, they are a core part of your investment process and your investment edge. And I don't think that that's ever truly going to be taken away. So if you look at things through that lens, like, yes, around the fringes of the industry, there's a lot of automation. I think there's probably going to be consolidation more towards the bigger players in the industry, like the T. Rowe's and the Fidelities of the world. But all in, automation is going to change the industry. I don't think it's going to completely destroy the industry, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm just trying to scroll through to see questions that would help the broader audience, because I don't think we're going to get to everything before the timeline.
Maybe talk about
you've talked about.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, maybe talk about what made us pick Colombia over other MBA programs.
Yeah. So for me, this was a two-pronged approach that I took. One was I wanted to come to a school that focused on investing, would help me develop those skill sets, but along with that gave me the optionality of doing some fun stuff. So for instance, I am in the value investing program, and so is Michael, but along with that, I'm taking a food entrepreneurship class right now. In my first year, I took a bunch of different classes, like leadership classes, like organizational change, or I took operational strategy, which was on the strategy side. And I think Colombia has a great blend of focusing on finance, but also allowing you to take a lot of these either soft skill classes or non-finance classes, which I do believe helps in personal growth, along with, of course, becoming a better investor. That was one. The second, I think, is the advantage Colombia has over any other school at this point is being in New York. And of course, virtually right now, that advantage is a little muted, but being in New York, having the ability to do in-semester internships with different kind of funds is something that's unparalleled. For instance, students from Wharton have to travel in from Philly to do it. Students from HBS, I think their first year have classes all through on Friday. So they find it difficult to leverage that opportunity. But I do think students from Colombia have that. And if that's something that's meaningful for you, I would definitely give it a lot of thought.
Yeah, and one thing that I'll just add for Colombia, and I went through a very, very rigorous, I guess, decision-making process on why I pick Colombia over, for example, Wharton or an HBS. Colombia is, if you want to come to Colombia to do investment management and you're not previously in, let's say, private equity or previously at a hedge fund or something more closely related or banking, like this is the place to do it. You just get all of the people, you get all of the resources, and you have basically the city at your disposal as well. A lot of our students do in-semester internships, and that's a huge boost on their resumes when it comes to summer recruiting. You might not have that if you're in a city that is less tilted towards just having a ton of hedge funds in the city. Or even if, for example, Boston, if there's a lot of mutual funds in the city, they don't generally have these kind of like off-cycle in-semester internship programs. And so opportunities are pretty sweet in New York City, and that's a major aspect. And you have a big alumni base here as well. So that was literally the biggest reason why I came, and definitely do not regret it.
Yep.
So looking at the next, another question, just real quick, looking at how difficult it is to transition to IM from a non-finance sector. I think it would depend. I previously had accounting background, so that helped a lot, and it was non-finance, so it was not investment banking, not private equity or anything. I think what I would do is turn this question a little bit around, and this is more of a personal question that you'll need to ask yourself, is how interested and how badly do you want to be in investment management? I wanted to be in investment management really, really badly. It was the only reason I came back to school to do an MBA. And if you have that kind of an attitude and you know that investment management, this is right for you, you won't care about how hard it is. It was very, very tough. I worked my butt off in the first year, but I wanted to do it. And I can honestly say that my outcome was fantastic. So the emphasis should be more on, I think, how passionate you are about investment management. If you are, forget about how hard it is, just go ahead and do it. So that would be my biggest piece of advice.
Yeah, and I would just add to Michael, even though I had an investing background, transitioning to IM is not simple. It definitely requires work. It requires you to have the passion. And if you don't have it, and interviewers can definitely see through it. So you really want to do this. It's not your plan B. Yeah, you should probably have a plan B just in case IM doesn't work out for some reason. But it's hard to make this your plan B because you really do need to devote time, effort, show passion, network a lot. And if you have that hustle in you, hopefully nothing will stop you from getting it. You will have everything, all the resources at your disposal. You really want, you need to want this.
Yeah, for sure. And how many SEMA members are part of the value investing program? So yeah, So we have just joined the value investing program. So in some ways that we've just started, but we've had a lot of interactions with second years last year who were in the value investing program. So again, only 40 people in the VI program. So SEMA members, if you think about SEMA as a club, it's an entire spectrum of people, some who are very, committed to investment management and are recruiting only for investment management. And then there are the other people who are, more interested in SEMA because of the investment ideas that we talk a lot about in the club. And SEMA is very good for, if you want to sort of manage your own personal investment account and you want to listen to what your other peer students who are really, focused on IM, there's a lot of ideas to be sourced from people within SEMA. So there's a lot of members of all different types on the spectrum who are within the club. Value investing program obviously are for the research analysts, career track, people who really want to do this full time. And within the experience, it's a very rigorous program. We're probably the program that works, the hardest in school. I think for one of my classes, we have weekly investment pitches, and the workload for that class is between 25 to 30 hours a week. And that's just for the one class itself. And so, again, it's not easy. You have to really, really want to do it. But if you really love it, like those 25 to 30 hours, it's fine. as with the admission process, it's sort of a year-long admissions process. We do a lot of these things called Investment Ideas Club or IIC stock pitches. And so you go through that. And when you apply in the spring of your first year for the value investing program, you have to submit a stock pitch that is selected by the reviewers of the program. And that's part of the entire application process. And there's also like a 15-minute interview. So just once you get onto campus, like a lot of this will be revealed in an information session, but that's approximately the process.
Yeah, I'll just add one quick thing is your value investing classes are taught by industry professionals. So at all points in time, of course, their level, their bar of like the work you do is definitely pretty high because they're seeing this on a daily basis. And therefore, of course, it's a lot of work, but you are getting real-time feedback from fund managers who are doing this for a living and have been doing this and have been extremely successful. So if you're really interested in doing IM and learning in this kind of risk-free environment at school, then of course both of us would recommend that you apply to the program and try to become a part of it. I think one other question that seems to be coming up a lot is, apart from equities, of course, there is people who are interested in wealth management. There are people who are interested in fixed income, and there are also a lot of people who are interested in doing investing overseas. All of these can be addressed through CSIMA. You will have job opportunities posted either through CSIMA or on Coin. So you shouldn't feel like at any point in time this is very North America equity focused. We definitely do have opportunities that are across the board for people interested either in different fields or in different geographies. All right.
Yeah. I think there was a question on managing the career change, like what classes at CBS are very interesting and helpful. So there are some just absolutely incredible classes here at CBS. We have this one class that's called Security Analysis, which is usually in the fall, and we get some really legendary investors come through our class. So these are investors like the founder of Lone Pine Capital, or Seth Klarman from Baupost, or Howard Marks from Oak Tree. Just incredible investors who come in and will usually speak for about an hour and a half and take questions, just like how we're taking questions from all of you right now. And so you get just tons of exposure to different investment philosophies. And then we also have in the spring, every single year, we have something that's hosted by Bill Ackman. It's the Pershing Square Challenge, where students are basically competing for a $100,000 prize pool. And both Samini and I did that last year, and it was a fantastic experience. And we had, again, just you put in a ton of work, but you also get incredible feedback from judges. So our judges included Mario Gabelli and Lee Cooperman. So these are really, the top investors like in the world who are giving us feedback on our pitches. So those are all just aspects of how it helps with this career switch. And if you're willing to put in the time, you get exposure to things like this at CBS.
Yeah, and even step one in the process in terms of if you don't know how to do a pitch and you need to learn frameworks, classes like the one that Michael mentioned on the Pershing Square Challenge, the class is called Applied Security Analysis. I think the professor do teach you a lot of these frameworks that help you build a really good pitch. And it definitely did help me through, my summer internship, where I did use some of those frameworks that we were taught in the process. And it also helps you stand out as compared to other interns, because these are classes that I don't think a lot of other schools offer.
Yeah.
All right.
Looking through some other questions that are a little bit more broader to the group. I mean, again, I see a lot of ESG and impact investing.
Yeah.
Again, there's impact investing, I think, focused club. That's not necessarily a core CSIMA focus. But just for your awareness, we also have every single fall, I think we're going to have it again this year. Newburger Berman also hosts an ESG competition that a lot of CSIMA members do participate in. And so that's also great exposure to ESG investing style. And so we do, again, have opportunities like that through the school. But that is, one component of many, many components within CSIMA. Then I think there was another question on credit space opportunities. So we go ahead.
No, go ahead with this question. I have the next one.
Yeah, we have opportunities within credit, but we also have a separate club called the Restructuring and Distressed Investing Group. And so they are very much focused on distressed debt investing. And we do, in our Investment Ideas Club, we also have something called Credit IIC Stock Pitch Nights. So we host that once a semester. So there's also exposure to the credit space within CSIMA as well. But just for full awareness, the predominant focus within CSIMA is more on the equity space as opposed to fixed income, although there are opportunities available within fixed income.
Yeah, I think a trend in some of the other questions has been, of course, managing workload and in-semester internships and involvement with CSIMA. So CSIMA is not a mandatory, you have to do work for the organization kind of club. You are part of the club and you can choose to participate in as many events or as few events as you want. And it's completely up to you how involved you want to be in terms of helping out or signing up to be an AVP. So if you feel like you're coming to school and you're slammed with a lot of classwork, it's okay for you to take a back seat for the fall, maybe get more involved in the spring. It's completely up to you and your discretion. In terms of timelines and course load, both Michael and I chose to exempt out of a few core classes like accounting, corporate finance, macro and micro econ. So these were some of the classes in the beginning that we felt like, we were okay exempting out of, and then, just taking more advanced classes. You can choose to do that, or you can choose to, of course, take less classes, focus more on recruiting, on socializing, whatever you choose to do. So you will have a lot of flexibility with the CBS system to manage your time efficiently in the way you want to do it. As far as recruiting timelines go, so normally you will start networking with a lot of the funds, maybe September, October. In November, normally between November and first week December, your cover letters, maybe one stock pitch, and resumes are due online. You will get interview decisions by end of December. And starting first week January, you will have your 30-minute on-campus interviews. So this is all for, of course, the on-campus recruiting process. If you end up going laterally and doing enterprise recruiting with a lot of the smaller places that may not come to campus, that timeline, of course, could be completely different. But end to end, you will start somewhere with the official process in November, and you will end at some point in February. And before that, of course, you will start working on your pitch and doing some of the, reach outs in terms of networking. So I hope that answers some of the broad recruiting timeline questions.
Yeah, so I'm looking at some of the later questions that came in. One question I think was whether CSIMA will help with securing a pre-MBA internship, and the answer is no. The pre-MBA internship is completely self-sourced and done on your own initiative. With that said, if you are, let's say, in the process of if you've already been admitted, for example, to Colombia, and this is the summer before starting school, I do highly encourage you to reach out to CSIMA members currently because you already have that connection there with the school, and just get to have a conversation with some of the members here, and then it doesn't hurt to ask. And often students who have worked at pre-MBA internships, they would be more than happy to at least have that conversation and give you some information on how to go about securing something like that. So. Yeah, and then
on end semesters,
I think go ahead.
Yeah. Now I was going to say on end semester internships, I think our advice would be like in the fall, unless you've exempted a lot of classes and you really don't think, you really do believe you can manage the workload, take it up for the fall. But otherwise, I think, or you're a career switcher and maybe you want to try your hand at IM. Otherwise, kind of take it easy that semester, because you're going to have to prepare a stock pitch, you're going to participate in competitions, you're adjusting to being at school, and you do want to have some fun too. You want to meet your classmates, you want to, hang out with them. So I would say just, probably take it up your second semester if you really want to. It doesn't matter in terms of experience for your summer internship, in the sense of, it's not going to be that different. But yes, of course, having some kind of experience if you're a career switcher in the space will help you show passion and for your interview process. So just be mindful of time, because you will be so overwhelmed when you come to school.
Yeah, time management is absolutely key. And so I'm looking at a couple questions. I think a couple questions were asked about why there's so much, why some of us have so much passion for investment management, and how that came about. At the end of the day, investment management, you get to constantly learn about all sorts of different industries. And so if you're a naturally intellectually curious person, which I see as a big recurring theme amongst the hardcore investment management crowd that we have. Everybody is extremely curious and constantly love learning about new ideas, not just new businesses, but new ideas, new philosophies. And so these are people who are generally read very widely and like to learn all sorts of different bases of knowledge. And so that I think is the one thing about investment management that personally attracted me to this field. And so I think that if that sounds like, if you feel like you're that type of person, I heavily recommend considering this career path.
I think it's I'll echo everything Michael said, and I think it's one of the few jobs that pay you to be curious and learn something new every day. And if you think that's what you want to do, then go for it. And I also do think the other advantage is your exposure to some of the best minds in terms of investing and management and access to management is unparalleled in this field. And that kind of crystallized wisdom is something that I think is really valuable, and one that really does help you grow both personally and professionally. So do it if this is something that appeals to you.
Yeah, and just another quick note about that. Because I've previously been in a completely different career, and I think I cannot remember how many times I've heard people who are either portfolio managers or analysts in this industry who will just constantly repeat how much they love their job. I never heard that when I was previously in accounting and accounting advisory. And
really, Michael? That's surprising.
Right. That's surprising, right? Apparently accountants don't really love their job. But in all seriousness, I think this is it's a sign for people outside of the industry. If you're considering this, why people really badly want to be in this industry. And everyone who has staying power within this industry feel the same way about their jobs.
Yeah. I know we're out of time, and we haven't, of course, been able to get through most of this, but we hope this has been helpful. We hope that, all of you apply to Colombia and hopefully get in, and we see you part of the SEMA community a couple of years from now.
Yeah, please. And we have, I think we shared a link to all of the different officers within SEMA. So if you have follow-up questions, we will do our best to get back to people. Although we also ask for your understanding, because we do have a ton of emails that come through. So please excuse us if we don't get back to you immediately. But happy to connect and wish best of luck to everyone.
Yeah, good luck, everyone.